I thought I would bring you guys out to the garden and give you guys an update on where we are with our garden this year. We're doing things completely different than we did last year. Last year was just trial and error and we didn't like it, so we went back to our old gardening method, which was just a basic garden. We do have our raised bed with strawberries, and then we're actually working on building another raised bed right now. But I just got back from the greenhouse and I need to plant my sweet potatoes, which this is my first year growing sweet potatoes, and I am pretty nervous about it just because I was expecting seed potatoes. I don't know why I thought that, and I showed up to the greenhouse, which he told me, he said, come before Mother's Day or you're not gonna get any, because I guess they sell out really quick. And I went in there expecting to get seed potatoes, which I did not. I got slips, which is a plant, if you don't know what that is, and it is just like a plant with some roots on the bottom. That is all it is. And I guess sweet potatoes are completely different, so I was asking him when do I know when they're ready to harvest and all of that, and so he gave me all the info. So I think I'm ready to plant those, but those are going to be a completely different thing for me to grow this year. And I've never grown them before because probably about a year or two ago I didn't even like sweet potatoes, but I don't know what's changed, but I love sweet potatoes now, and Ben doesn't eat them, so I'm just growing. I just got one bundle of them. I think there was 25 plants, but that should give a lot of sweet potatoes, especially just for me because I'm the only one that eats them, and then I'll take them to family get-togethers and stuff like that. But I will show you guys our garden really quick. So over here are the strawberries, and they are not going to do much this year. I was talking with my Amish neighbor and she was telling me that I did not feed them at the right time. So as soon as the green comes up out of the ground, I was supposed to feed these and I did not. So hers are really nice and bushy. She has like hundreds of strawberries out there and hers are doing fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have plenty of strawberries on here, but just not as many as I would want. Like this plant right here is absolutely loaded with strawberries. I don't know if you can see them all, but there is a ton on this one. So next year I will just know that whenever the green comes up that I need to put some manure on them and get them fed. So this year is truly, honestly, just all about learning, because I want to be a more efficient gardener. That is my goal for this year. So the strawberries are doing decently well, and we're just not going to get enough harvest to can or anything like that. It'll probably just be enough to eat, but that is fine. I can buy some strawberries at the produce auction. And over here we were working on building a new raised bed, but the garlic is in the way, so we're just going to go ahead and build the raised bed around it, put up a piece of plywood on the inside until the garlic is ready to harvest. So we're going to work on that this evening if it doesn't rain. It is thundering and stuff right now, so I really hope that the rain holds off, but I'm not sure if it will. But if you remember last year, we did the small 4x16 like market style garden. So it was like they were in the ground, but it was 4x6 plowed up spots. And then there was patches of grass, like a walkway. It was a lot of work to keep up with. So that's why I bought the push mower. But now our ride lawnmower ran out of gas last night, so I ended up push mowing the rest of this out here. So the garden, we still have plenty of room to get a lot of stuff planted. But our garden right here is full. We are going to get rid of that. If you guys have been here since the very beginning of this farm, probably back in like 2021 when we bought it, there used to be a 3-story barn that sat right here. So we actually sold the barn and somebody came and took what was left of it down. They took the timbers and stuff out of it. But after the barn was gone, we then turned it into our garden spot, and that is what we have now. But whoever owned this farm before us, they fed silage and they just left the plastic lay. So there is tons of it. Every time we till, the tiller gets caught up in that silage wrap and we end up digging out piles of it. So that's what that is silage wrap. That's our little trash can right there. So we have got to get that taken care of. And then this is our pile of rocks that we pull out and sticks. We're going to use those as filler on our raised bed. But in this row we have green onions and then white bulb onions on the end there. The second row is nothing but candy onions. And then this row right here we have different varieties of lettuce. And on each end of each row we have marigolds and then some sunflowers. So those are alternating. In this row we have red potatoes and white potatoes. We have carrots, cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower right here in this row. They're honestly doing really, really well. And this is the earliest that we've ever put out a garden, and it is the best that it's ever been. I think that's why our cold crops really never do the best, is because we get them out too late. Because normally, like my mom and dad, they don't plant a garden. They still have not planted their garden, and it is May 8th today, but they do not plant until May 15th. So that's like the old rule of thumb for our area, is that's the last frost. That's whenever you plant. So we've already got everything put out, and we have not had any issues with frost, but we did plant probably about 3 weeks ago, and so far we haven't had any issues, and this is the best our garden has ever looked. So we're probably going to start putting out earlier gardens, but we are prepared for a frost in case it was to come. We have the white canvas that we can put over top. Here is cucumbers. These cucumbers I planted, you guys saw that in my videos earlier, and I can say that I don't know what happened. They're starting to come out of it, so I'm glad I planted them. But as you can see, the leaves were so just yellow and like dying, but these new leaves are green, so we are leaving them. We're hoping they come out of it, but every one of them is like that. So I really don't know what happened. We're just hoping that they continue to come out of it. And then this was a volunteer that we found, but it is a cucumber, so I just threw it in here with the cucumbers. The zucchini that I started is doing fantastic. There's some more plastic that I was telling you about. It's the silage wrap. The zucchinis are doing awesome. So those were a success. They usually always are. Next I have Roma tomatoes, and these are not the ones that I started. The ones I started died. I planted them twice and they died both times. I have no idea what happened, but the rain is coming. I'm gonna have to hurry. So I have 3 rows of tomatoes planted. These are obviously the earlier ones, and then these are later tomatoes. But I have 24 in each row, and I have 3 rows. So hopefully they end up doing good. They are all Romas. It's the most similar that I could find to Santos. And Santos is what I really wanted, but I can make do with the Romas. But I did have to buy them from the greenhouse because I did not have time to start my own again, so I did have to buy them. But something I am planning on doing is keeping track of how much we've spent at the greenhouse, and then I want to keep track of everything that I can from the garden this year and do a price comparison and compare it to what I would have spent at the grocery store and how much I saved by canning. So I think that would be really fun because I do want to see it on paper, because so many people say that gardening is not worth it, and I totally disagree. So I want to see it on paper this year. So I'm going to take the time to do that. So I've been keeping a record of everything that I've spent at the greenhouse, and on all my tomato plants I spent $48. So that is a good chunk of change right there. But I know that I'm gonna get so many cans of pasta sauce, pizza sauce, ketchup, everything. So it doesn't bother me to spend that up front, just because I know I will make so much stuff out of that. So I am gonna do that, and I'm excited to see what I really do, like cost comparison, what I save and what I spend. That right there is just a bucket of rocks. That's what I used to put them all up in. And then this row right here, they're still pretty small, but these are the peppers that I started. So it's banana peppers on this end and then jalapenos down there. So they're small, but they are doing really good so far. They're starting to come up. And I have 2 rows of beans next. They are the white half runner beans. In this section, we don't have anything planted yet, but this is where my sweet potatoes are gonna go. So I need to get those planted. And over here we have 2 rows of corn, which we are going to go ahead and till more of this up. We gotta move that trash, obviously, get rid of it, and then we're gonna till up more, and we're gonna plant at least 1 more harvest of corn, which here you can plant corn until like July 4th. So as long as you get it planted by July 4th, you can still get good corn harvest. So we are gonna plant probably 2 to 3 weeks later, and we're gonna go ahead and plant more over here. And then, like I was saying, we are working on a raised bed up here, and that is where my herbs are going to go. I already have the herbs that I started, so they just need to be put in, but we do have to build the box around the garlic. And then whenever I harvest the garlic, we'll go ahead and fill it and then plant the garlic back inside of the bed. So that is where we're at with the garden so far this year. But I'm excited to see, and I don't know, this is just the most motivated I've ever been to garden. So I feel really good about it. Like, I don't feel behind. For once, I feel on time and maybe even a little early with our garden. And so far it is doing awesome. We've already ate several batches of our lettuce out of here, and green onions, same with the green onions. We've ate a lot. So I'm curious to see how our broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage do since we've put them out earlier. we just now finished the raised bed, and we ended up building it around the garlic so that I would not lose my garlic, because it's not ready to harvest for another 2 months or so. So I've packed rocks in here and some old boards. Ben's gonna go get some more old wood that we have, and then we put up this piece of plywood just to keep the dirt from falling over onto the garlic. But whenever we harvest the garlic, then we'll put dirt on that side and then plant garlic on top this year. So garlic will be in the raised bed along with all the herbs and spices right here. We got the raised bed built and filled this evening, and I just now planted the herbs that are going to be in here. These herbs I picked up today at the greenhouse. So I got 4 pack a deal. I think that was $2, so 50 cents a piece. And then I think these were $1 a piece. That one's parsley and that one's cilantro. The basil I grew myself, so that's the last thing that needed planted. I'm pretty sure everything in the garden is planted now except for our late corn. We're going to do some late corn and maybe some late beans, but those won't get planted until later. And then of course like fall crops.